everybody, welcome back to Over 40 Travel. It has been a long time since episode 9, Ticket Time. In that episode, we were going about 3 months out, 1 to 3 months out, and we finished up at about 4 weeks to go. And let me tell you, since we've been back from that trip, a lot has happened, but I assure you, we did go on that trip to Italy, and we went with our friends Timmy and his new wife Keon, and we had a great time. But that was about 6 months ago, so let's go back and review the trip. So when we left off in the last episode, we were about 4 weeks out. Things were getting pretty crazy. We had the itinerary nailed down, and we're going to fly into London, stay overnight, and then fly the next day into Rome. But we didn't do that. We actually went from Phoenix to New York to London, and then kept going from London to Italy, all in one trip. Not recommended. My good friend Timmy here, he hates to fly. So he thought, let's just do it all in one trip. So let's review how that went. Now, if you recall, we flew Virgin Atlantic on our international flight because we like their style, we like their service. Let's just see if it was worth the price. Our domestic flight landed in New York at around 2 p.m. and our international flight was taking off at 9 p.m. So we had a little bit of time to kill. So my recommendation was to go over to the TWA hotel right there at the airport. Now, if you've never been there, it's pretty cool. The TWA airport is kind of a retro 60s, 70s thing. So if you're into Twister and beehive hairdo and white boots up to the calf, you know, the ones that were made for walking, this is your place. Personally, I like to buddy up to the bar and grab one of their, let's face it, a little bit too expensive drink, and just settle down. Maybe wait for my luggage if it was delayed, which was not. Or if you're an aviation buff like me, you can head on out to Connie, 1958 Connie, and have a drink in there. It's actually a little bar. The ladies, they just went off snapping pictures left and right. And that's when it happened. The first hiccup of our trip. It wasn't major, but it was a big one. And it was Timmy's fault.
Timmy!
Sorry, Timmy. You remember way back when we were talking about international flights and all the documents and everything you need to fill out, how you have to send the airline your just basic security information? Yeah, Timmy didn't do any of that. And a lot of other things, but that's okay. He brought his laptop, which I originally yelled at him for, and we got to work, and in no time we had all of his documents updated and ready to go. And then we were on our way to the lounge because we really needed a drink by then. We were all pretty excited because it was the first time any of us had been to a Virgin Atlantic clubhouse. It's kind of retro, kind of like the TWA hotel. Plenty of spaces to eat. The food smelled great. The bar looked great. And I think we ordered everything on the menu. And that includes drinks too. I think we had a few too many, but that's all right. It's all part of the experience. You can find full reviews on this club and all the other clubs at JFK, but suffice to say, it was awesome. And yeah, Timmy broke a glass, but he was nervous, but it was time to head to the plane, and therefore I was excited. So we were heading to the Virgin Atlantic A330-900 Neo. Our plane was called Billie Holiday. So again, there are a lot of reviews online. Some people do excellent 35 minute long detailed reviews of Virgin Atlantic and their upper class, so I won't bore you with that, but I will say the crew was awesome and funny, the drinks were great, the food was good, and the lie flat bed was perfect. Well worth it. The Virgin Atlantic perks kept on going, and right there at Heathrow, after you grabbed your luggage, we headed over to the Virgin Atlantic Revivals Lounge. Very cool place. This is the first time we've ever been here, and I was really looking forward to one of their famous features, a shower. The shower room was clean, the water was hot, and they had all the shower goodies you'd ever need. And of course they had good food and drink, and I think we had 2 cappuccinos each. We felt really refreshed until we walked into the BA terminal. We dropped off our bags as quickly as we could and headed to the Plaza Premium Lounge thanks to our Venture Card and Priority Pass. Not much to say about our British Airways flight. We couldn't afford the business class, or as they call it, Club Europe, and therefore we were in economy, and it was tight, folks. It was a very tight ride. Not doing that again. We woke up to a beautiful sky and landed in Rome. We knew the airport well, so we headed right to the train. We took the Leonardo Express into town, and caught a short cab ride to our hotel, the Westin Excelsior. Remember when I told you to make sure you use Google Map around your hotel so you know exactly where you're going? Well, that's exactly what we did, and it led us to our first restaurant of the trip, Ristorante Vladimiro, I think. We ate a great meal, and the millennials took pictures. Cute, aren't they? After a great meal, we stumbled back to the hotel and had one more nightcap in the great Excelsior bar. Beautiful place, great drinks, and it was a good sleep. From what I can remember. The next morning, we awakened refreshed and eager to get on with our day, our first day in Rome. And the newlyweds had never been there, so they took off on a private tour we helped arrange for them. For us, we had a pretty relaxed morning. We had a light breakfast and then headed to the train station. We were going wine tasting. We were on the Minardi wine tour in Frascati, a small town about 20-minute train ride north of Rome. 3 years ago, we were in the same town where we met a young lady named Paula, and we hit it off. She was our host and interpreter for that pizza tasting tour, and I surprised my wife with her again. It was a great reunion in a great setting. The Minardi Wine Tour has several different tours, so check their website to see which one fits your schedule and budget. But it was great being outside, eating and drinking good wine, being with good friends, new and old. But soon it was time to head back into town because we had a night event planned. We had reservations at the Paparazzo rooftop bar at the Meridian Visconti Hotel. Great drinks, great view, and all booked ahead via Yelp or Travel Advisor. It was our time for dinner, and just 2 blocks away, a little mom and pop shop called Taverna Ripetta. And it was delicious and run by 2 little old ladies. I'm serious. We ordered way too much food. Risotto, steaks. We were just stuffed by the time we rolled out of there. Now, all of these restaurants, all of these trips, everything was booked months in advance through TripAdvisor. If you're not sure how to do this, go back a couple of my episodes and I'll show you how I do it step by step. We didn't have a single problem with any of our reservations the entire trip when they were booked this way. And I was pretty excited about the next morning. It was our last morning in Rome, and I had a big surprise planned for the whole group. About 15 minutes away from our hotel, we stopped and had a little bit of cappuccino, and then headed to the event, baby. Yeah, scooters! The Vespa Sidecar scooter tour is a great way to see Rome. They have several tours during the day and at night, and they offer 2 hours or I believe 3 hours. Check out their website. It is a great way, especially if it's your first time in Rome, to see a lot of the sights from a different perspective and really give you a feel for the city. I highly recommend this tour. Now, of course, there are age, size, and height restrictions. I'm 6'1" and let's say over the best weight, and I barely fit in the sidecar, but I totally wanted that angle for the camera, so check them out. Right after that, we had to grab our bags and head to the train station. We were heading south on iTalo train line, first class of course, as we like comfort when we can get it. Plus the train station's pretty crazy. So iTalo will give you a private lounge and fast track that helps you, what was I talking about? Oh, fast track that will help you scoot through the lines and onto your train very quickly. It's just an hour to Naples, which isn't enough time to enjoy one of these trains, but in an hour we were in Naples and we were picked up by our car service we've used several times before. He was rushing us to the ferry because we didn't leave ourselves enough time, and he was taking the newlyweds on to Positano. So although we're driving in relaxed comfort, we were dealing with the Capri ferry terminal, and it's a bit of organized chaos. I did a full review on our time in Capri, the hotel we stayed at in the surrounding areas, but the best way of getting around all of Amalfi is really the ferries. But since Capri is an island, you're going to use the ferry, a private boat, or a helicopter if you're rich, but we use the ferry and a cab. By cab, I mean private car. I really couldn't tell. There might be some cabs there. We just took the first available car. The prices all seem to be about the same. We like the open top of the private car, if you will, but there's also a bus service, if you can call that. They're very, very tiny. Any way you want to get to the top, there's also the funicular, which we explain about in our full review. So we ended up taking a private car up to the town. I did not follow my own advice and get porter service, so we actually had to drag our luggage with us, which that's why you keep luggage so minimal in Europe. It wasn't fun, but it was okay. And not everything works in these little hill towns. Google Maps led us astray just a little bit. We had to walk back a couple of streets, but look at my wife trying to give me directions. She's awful with directions, so I ignored her. I found our street. It was just a block away. And soon we were at the hotel, the La Residenza Hotel Capri. It was a nice hotel. We liked it very much. The room was very small. It was hard to tell from the online pictures, but it was tiny, which was fine. We weren't in the room very much. It was very nice, very clean, and we had, or at least we felt like we had the place to ourselves the entire time, except for I think at breakfast. Anyway, check out our review and you'll get the full scoop, okay? Appreciate it. Well, we didn't make it to the Blue Grotto, but we did have reservations at one of the best restaurants of our whole trip, possibly one of our best trips ever. Tiny restaurant called 52 Centro Ristorante. Amazing, very small restaurant, 5 or 6 tables, the staff, the young lady, she was the entire staff. She was excellent. The wine was amazing. Check this place out. Check out the review. It's great food. And make sure you bring treats for the kiddies too. In the morning, we were going to head up to Anna Capri, but we didn't quite make it. Remember how I told you things don't always work out on trips and most travel channels don't show you that? Well, we do. We were heading down to the beach and I used my wife's card to pay for the funicular tickets and it wouldn't work. So I had to give them a call right there in the middle of Capri Beach, and apparently my deposit was refused, and they sent me an email the day I flew out. So my trusty wife's card that I used for years and in every country stopped working for some reason. But that's okay. Woosa moment. I wasn't going to sit there and argue with some banker thousands and thousands of miles away. We just pulled out our venture travel card and kept on shopping. We ended up in the town square having a nice little snack and doing great people watching. Oh, and those are our bags. This time we used the hotel's porter service. Just for about $20 a bag, they will have your luggage shipped down to the cabin bus terminal. From there, we just picked another open-top car and leisurely drove down to the beach. Now, right by the ferry terminal, you will see all these people waiting in line to buy their tickets. Don't be those people. Buy your tickets online ahead of time, and you won't be stuck in this large crowd. But you will be stuck in that large crowd. That's actually the line, the chaotic line to get into your ferry. And it's a little crazy. Watch your bags and everything, but you'll be fine. They yell out which ferry's going where, so just have to pay attention. And yes, it's in English. In no time, we were on our ferry headed to Positano. And we prearranged to have porter service at the dock, so we dropped off our bags and started heading uphill to our hotel. Positano is a hilltop town that we visited a few years ago and didn't spend enough time here, so we were really looking forward to relaxing and just seeing different parts of the town. It all starts with a walk uphill. At Over 40 Travel, well, we're not getting any younger, so we do try to find hotels that are fairly close to the beach. Now, we couldn't stay at our last hotel, which is way too expensive this year, but we did find a really nice place called the Imperati Suites, and it was a short 20-minute, slightly uphill climb to the hotel. Most hotels in Positano don't have big signs out front. As a matter of fact, the Imperati Suites didn't have any signage. So we did a full review of the hotel and we showed you exactly how to get there, including landmarks, where to turn, and everything. So check that out too if you're interested in staying there. The Imperati Suites only have 2 suites, the yellow suite and the blue suite. We really wanted the blue suite for filming purposes, but we did all right with the yellow suite. It was a beautiful view, service was amazing, great location. We would definitely stay there again. That night we had dinner reservations at the Refugio di Mare, and they provided shuttle service, which of course our hostess helped us arrange, and the shuttle service drops you right off at the front door. But not the front door of the restaurant. There's a bit of walking, downhill, uphill, up more stairs, and more stairs. TripAdvisor said there's a short walk. It's a walk, guys, and if you've been shopping all day long, your legs are gonna feel it. But we finally got there, which was pretty good. I was ready to drop by that time. They quickly seated us on a beautiful terrace table overlooking the sea, and it was magical. We got to watch the sunset and eat great food and great drink, and soon the pain was forgotten, just for a little while. Here's some food porn for you. Makes me hungry all over again. Well, that was a great night, but we were really looking forward to tomorrow. So we headed back up the stairs, down the stairs, back up to the road. Yes, you had to walk back. The next morning we were heading toward a Limoncello tour. So we loaded up on breakfast and headed down the hill, just to head back up the hill on the other side. So that's the way Positano is. It's a hilltop town, and no matter what you do, you're gonna take some steps. So we did a little shopping downtown on our way up the hill. Casual morning, had a little bit of lunch, and then headed up the hill to the Limoncello tasting. And fed the kiddies on the way, of course. Now, when we say Positano is a hilltop town, you have to walk everywhere unless you're paying a ton for cabs to take you up. Now, I was too exhausted to take video coming up these hills, but it was almost as bad heading down. This was just one of the flights, so. But finally, we made it to the Valenti Limoncello tour. We were exhausted and sweaty, but still, we had a great time. And we always telling they speak English over there in Italy. Here's a taste.
We make a nice prosecco. And now I make my little surprise for you, my secret pizza.
Oh, it's a surprise? Is it slushy?
We apologize as an agent.
Okay.
After that, we dragged our sweaty selves back down the hill, took a nice cool shower, and got ready for the evening. I don't really believe in all the whole bucket list thing, but this is something I've wanted to do since the very first time we were here. On a rainy night 3 or 4 years ago, my wife discovered this restaurant high up on the hill. They would send a shuttle for you, and you would dine over the clouds, they said. And it was a magical evening, and I'll never forget it. And all I want to do is share it with my friends and family. So on this trip, I finally got the chance. Because we were dining at the Tagliata, one of my favorite places. It is a high hilltop, family-run, family-style restaurant where they bring you plate after plate of food and great house wine. We ate our full and drank our full, and it was the moment I was looking forward to, and it was magical. I would do it all over again in a heartbeat.
It was video.
Yes, we drank enough for that crazy ride back down the hill. The next morning, we were feeling a little melancholy leaving Positano. The porters had already taken our bags, and we made a casual walk down to the ferry terminal, where we waited over an hour for the ferry. They don't always arrive on time, folks. It's Italy. Relax. We loved our stay at the Imperati Suites, but now we're on to an even better experience. And this turned out to be one of the most amazing hotel experiences we've ever had so far. The hotel shuttle team was in constant contact with us and picked us up at the dock. We did a full review of this hotel. We hope you take a look at it, but for now, we're just going to give you a couple of quick peeks. The Monastero Santa Rosa is an amazing place. It's a converted monastery that contains 20 rooms and suites, so the most you're going to see is 80 or 90 people booked in there. Many times we felt completely alone, whether we were in the spa, roaming around the beautiful gardens, or just looking at some of the relics in the hall. We didn't see very many guests at any one time. We felt like we had the whole place to ourselves, and it was amazing. Right outside of our bedroom, we could see the Sunset Terrace. We were up here several times, and we never saw a single other couple. It was all to ourselves. And look at this view. But I want to show you the main reason I booked this hotel when I saw it in a magazine. That is amazing. I never stopped staring. I spent the most time here, and I just couldn't believe this place existed. It was truly wonderful, truly amazing. The service was impeccable, except for 2 staff members by the pool who kept asking our room number. It was an amazing place, and I hope to return here one day. As you can imagine, yes, this place was very, very expensive, but I got a good deal because I watched the prices constantly, and when the price dropped down to the rate of the others, I snatched it up. We took the free shuttle into town and met up with the honeymooners that night. We had a couple of drinks and went off to our restaurants. We also did a little shopping in downtown Amalfi and just wandered the streets late into the night. It was our final night in Italy, and we wanted to have it with the newlyweds. So we decided to meet at another hilltop, family-run restaurant, the Hostaria Acquolina. And yeah, there are more damn stairs. I'm serious. Down and down and down we went, but it was a beautiful walk. Not complaining. I'm in Italy. Our vacations, and especially restaurants, are all about memories. Hi, kitty. And this place was one of the great ones. Small, warm, cozy, and amazing food, as you can see here. We tried everything. Had my first Negroni. Thank you, Anthony. And too soon it was time to go. We knew it was our last night in Italy and we were all feeling a little bit sad. But we had a very early pickup, our private ride tomorrow, because we had to head all the way back to Naples, back to Rome, back to England. So the day started unbelievably early. We used our favorite car service and he got us safely back to Naples. He will be dropping us off at the Napoli Afragola train station, designed by Zaha Hadid. This architectural marvel is designed mostly for the high-speed trains, taking you from city to city or region to region. Beautiful design. There's nothing more relaxing than taking a bullet train through the Italian countryside. But we had to put our travel hats back on. We're heading back into the airports. First it was the Leonardo Express back to Fiumicino station, and then the usual sloth through the airport, dropping off your bags. Never fun. And to get away from the hustle and bustle, another Plaza Premium Lounge. It was a short but still uncomfortable flight on BA economy, but soon we were back in jolly old England. And this time, this is as far as we were going to go for the night. We had a couple plans. The newlyweds were off to a Mamma Mia show. Kel and I took a tube and ate at a Parisian brasserie called Brasserie Zedel. I mean, we're in London, so why not? And while it would have been great to stay in the neighborhood and throw back a couple at the Devonshire, we headed back to the hotel. This time it was the Marriott County Hall, right by the Big Eye. We were meeting the newlyweds there for a final drink in London, a nightcap, and to talk about a great trip we just had. The next morning, we were off for a little breakfast. We had a later flight, so we thought we'd get back on the tube and head into downtown London. I had one more little surprise for the group. I made reservations for the four of us to have a little breakfast in the highest spots in London, the Duck and Waffle at the Heron Tower in London. And it's fantastic breakfast. Soon it was time for our last first-class perk, the Virgin Atlantic private upper-class wing at Heathrow Airport. There's plenty of videos on this, folks, but you get to feel pampered just for a few hours. You have a private check-in, private security line, and next thing you know, you are in the famous Virgin Clubhouse at Heathrow. This time we knew the drill, so we took our time and explored the place. As an av geek, I went outside to make sure I could smell that av gas, while the ladies walked around inside and found all the best drinks and nibbles. We didn't eat as much as we did the first time in JFK. We did have a few good drinks, but soon it was to get back on the plane and head over the pond. So we thought. Well, our boarding time came and went, and for some reason, the Virgin crew wasn't telling us anything, which is a little bit frustrating. They're usually good at communication. But we sauntered over to the gate and started asking around, and they said we would be boarding soon, but there might be some seat changes. I wasn't happy about that, but then they told us we're flying on a new plane, and it was its first flight, an inaugural flight. Some people were happy, some people weren't. I was ecstatic. You see, we thought we were flying on the A350 with the loft, like we've flown before, but we were flying on a new A350 with what they call the booth, which turned out to be just a little cramped booth. Not a fan, but it had less first-class seats than the loft version. This was a high-capacity plane, so some of us were happy with our seats and some of us were not. But after we took off, the flight attendants let us sit wherever we want, so everybody was happy. I was walking up and down like a little kid. I've never been on a brand new plane before, and it smelled great. That new car smell was awesome. The flight was great, the food was great, the crew was great, just as you expect from Virgin. And soon we were headed back over the pond and back to New York. And the rest of our domestic travel was thankfully uneventful. Well, folks, that's it. We've taken you on 10 episodes from the dream to our actual trip. Hopefully you've learned how to trust yourself, how to do planning and budgeting, and how to make your dream a reality. I have all of these documents on our YouTube travel page. We have all the tips and tricks and links and everything you might need to do this yourself. If you have any questions, please let us know. It's been my privilege to do this for you. I really enjoyed it, and I really like making content. And most of all, I like making memories. Join us again on Over 40 Travel.